Nikki Vegan, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you everything that I eat in a day as a vegan, and I'm also going to take you through a day in my life. And this day was actually filmed on the first day of autumn, and normally I don't really pay attention to stuff like that on the calendar, but I feel like especially now with it being 2020 and just how all of the days kind of feel mushed together, I've been thinking a lot about weekdays and weekends and different seasons and just kind of punctuating my time in a very different way than I ever have before. So I thought it would be a nice excuse to kind of shake things up, get out of the house, and do something a little bit different, which honestly was so needed and so good for the soul. So I'm going to show you everything that I ate, starting with the pumpkin pancakes that I made for breakfast. Seemed appropriate since it was the first day of fall. And then I'm going to show you the hike that we went on. We went up to the Hollywood sign and around this really cool little area that I've never seen before. And then for dinner, we decided to have a picnic with the vegan In-N-Out. There's this place called Monty's in LA, and they just opened a new location on 3rd Street. It's kind of known as the all vegan In-N-Out. So they've got burgers and fries and special sauce and tater tots and milkshakes and all these things that look incredible, and I've never tried it before. So my sister and I decided to try it on this night, and it was such a fun day. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Big shout out to Thrive Market for sponsoring this video. You're gonna see lots of little goodies that I picked up there throughout this video, including one of my new favorite teas for autumn and some really great snacks that we brought on the hike as well. But for now, let's get started with those pumpkin pancakes. So I've been making these pancakes for a few years now, and one of the things I love about them is that they're made with really wholesome ingredients and pretty much everything that I would put into a bowl of oatmeal, but in pancake form. So I start with some old-fashioned oats, and I just put it in the blender until it turns into flour. And then I add that to a bowl along with some pumpkin pie spice, and I love this one from Primal Palette. It is literally a couple of dollars cheaper on Thrive than it is at my regular grocery store, so I stock up. I add some baking powder and some salt along with a little bit of pumpkin and almond milk, and I just stir that until it starts to smell really good. Normally when a recipe says to let the batter rest, I either don't let it rest or I just don't make that recipe, because even if it's only 10 minutes, in my mind, I'm like, who has time for that? But honestly, this recipe is so much better if you do go ahead and let it rest. It gives the flour enough time to rehydrate, which gives it just a little bit more strength and sturdiness, so the pancakes will really stay together and get fluffy. It also gives the acid enough time to interact with the baking powder. Sorry if you hear that loud car, I live in a city, but it gives the acid enough time to interact with the baking powder, and that will create all those nice air bubbles which equal fluffy pancakes. So pour yourself a cup of coffee while the batter rests for 10 minutes, maybe put on a podcast. I actually put on an amazing podcast by Deliciously Ella on this day, and she was doing an interview with the author of a book called Bread Therapy, and it was perfect timing because she was basically talking about how cooking, baking bread, and cooking in general can really be a form of therapy, and it can be almost like a moving meditation because it involves all of your senses, and it also really just helps ground you and keep you present in the moment. It's something that is cozy and relaxing while also being challenging, and she was talking about how when you are cooking and doing something that is still a little bit stimulating while also being very sensorial and very all-consuming and forces you to be present, that combination is the magic sauce to really get you out of your head and get you out of whatever stress you're in. Because if something is too cozy, it can be nice sometimes, but it can also make you feel lethargic or unmotivated. And if something is too challenging, you might want to give up or not try or feel really defeated and therefore more stressed and more anxious. But if you can find activities like cooking, like baking, or like making pancakes, something that is, you know, a little bit cozy, but also there's some effort, there's some skill, and you're learning something and you're really actively doing this cozy thing, that is something that is just pure magic and really, really cathartic. So sometimes I just cook because I need to eat, I need to get food on the table and get on with my day. But other times I cook because it is cathartic, and I've never heard anyone explain it in this particular way. So listening to this podcast while I was sipping my coffee, while I was making pancakes and enjoying the delicious pumpkin, cinnamony, pumpkin spice smells from the pancakes while they were cooking, it was just the perfect combination for a really cozy morning, and I highly recommend it. So I will definitely put that podcast link in the description box below, as well as the link to these pancakes. I like to top my pancakes with a little bit of almond milk yogurt, some of this pecan butter from Thrive. It is a sweet potato, cinnamon, and pecan butter, and it is so delicious. Breakfast was amazing and definitely the perfect way to kick off the first day of fall. And then after that, I had some work to do. I just did my emails and I made sure that all of my projects were done for the day in the beginning part of the day so that I could take the rest of the afternoon to relax and hang out with my sister. And so after I did that, I went ahead and I researched the Hollywood Reservoir. And the Hollywood Reservoir was where we were going to be hiking. It was more of a stroll, but I've never heard of it before. I lived in LA for 13 years and I did not know that this was really a thing, but it's basically a man-made lake that has a service road going around it and people in the neighborhood walk around, and it's kind of a nice escape from the city. And at some point when you get to the dam, you get a beautiful view of the Hollywood sign and it's just really serene, or that is at least what I was reading about at this point in the day. So I decided to make myself a really quick but delicious lunch. And if you think you hate salads, you need to watch this next part of the video because oh my gosh, you guys, this is the salad for people who hate salads, and you will see why when it's done. So if you hate salad, one of the most important things to remember is contrast. You want to create as many different contrasts as possible. So contrast in flavor, in temperature, in texture, all of that is going to create a restaurant style salad at home. So what I like to do is do a base of cold, crunchy veggies and then warm up some leftovers from last night's dinner. That's a really great way to create a hot-cold combo and also to make your salads a lot more satiating. So here I have some smoky beans. This is basically just white beans with some smoked paprika, cumin, nutritional yeast, salt, and pepper. I also warmed up some leftover roasted pumpkin that I roasted with olive oil, maple syrup, cayenne, salt, and pepper. And then I added some of these crunchy pumpkin seeds that I got from Thrive Market. These are ranch flavored, they are all vegan, and they add a really nice pop of flavor, but also a great crunch, which again is going to contrast the creamy beans and the creamy, soft roasted pumpkin. And then I tied it all together with one of my favorite homemade dressings. This is an oil-free dressing that is basically a vegan version of honey mustard. And therefore we're getting kind of like a creamy, rich, fatty, delicious dressing with the cold, crunchy, refreshing vegetables. So there's contrast there. I have the hot cold combo going on. And again, there's just a lot of different flavors and textures, kind of smoky from the beans and sweet from the pumpkin, and also a little bit of sweetness from the dressing. And then that super savory note from the pumpkin seeds. It is just an incredible blend of textures and contrast, and it really makes a meal like this super satiating, really filling because we've got lots of fiber, healthy fats, and protein, and just really good. Like, you don't feel like you're missing out on anything because you're having a salad. If anything, this is the kind of meal I crave. I love these pumpkin seeds so much I actually decided to put them in my backpack to take on the hike with us. These actually have 10 grams of protein for 1 ounce, so they're really, really rich in both protein and in fiber. I also just grabbed this out of my refrigerator. It's kind of random, but I had some dates in the fridge, and so I threw this whole thing into my backpack as well in case we needed some extra energy for our hike. Then I filled up my refillable water bottle and I grabbed some leftover pancakes to give to my sister because I had a feeling she was going to need a snack, and I was right. And then I put on a hiking outfit and we hit the road. Okay, so we have no idea where to park, but we did find the Hollywood sign. It's literally right there. So we're gonna take a quick picture and then we'll find the reservoir. I just had to pee in the woods, and this one is the worst lookout ever.
It wasn't the woods, okay? We are in the middle of Hollywood here.
That's her version of the story. My version of the story is I'm huddled behind a bush in the middle of the wilderness.
There's no bush.
Let me tell my side of the story for the jerk. I'm huddled behind a bush in the middle of the wilderness. And my sister is supposed to have my back. She's supposed to have her head on a swivel looking all the directions. She's on her phone. And a car pulls up. And I'm like, Ingrid, you're supposed to tell me if someone's coming. And she looks up from her phone and is like, what? That was fun. Service road, and this whole part is gated off, but I read that when you get about a mile in, then it all opens up and you can see the reservoir and the water and the Hollywood signs. So
But right now I'm still enjoying it, even though it's kind of like an odd road to be walking on. It's really pretty and quiet, and it does not feel like we're in LA at all, which is really, really nice.
I want to point out is that we had a great time. We walked around, we enjoyed the silence, we were silly at some points, but we also had some kind of difficult conversations. Both of us have been struggling with different things in our lives, like we all are and we all do, and we had some really serious conversations and some sad conversations as well, kind of all mixed in, and that is real life. And I just want to make sure that I point that out, because I never want you to look at my channel or my Instagram and think that my life is 100% perfect and that there's something wrong. Like if you're feeling lonely, or if you're stressed or scared or sad or just not happy with where you are in life, everybody feels some combination of those things, and you are definitely not alone. So I never want you guys to think that it's all just sunshine and rainbows all the time. And actually, I think that's why doing things like this kind of a day, where you plan to do something totally different and you get out of your normal routine and explore your city. Like, I've lived here for so long and I never knew that this reservoir was there, but getting out of my comfort zone, doing something different, exploring, like I didn't know if it was going to be cool, if it was going to be weird. To be honest, it was kind of weird. Like, most of it is just a random little road you're walking around, but parts of it were really beautiful. And just getting outside, you know, spending some time outdoors, enjoying something a little bit different than your everyday routine is really, really good for the soul. I just wanted to point that out and encourage you guys, if any of you are feeling a little stuck or a little sluggish or just a little uninspired, shake things up, do something different just for the sake of doing it. So for dinner, we went to Monty's, and Monty's is known in LA as the vegan version of In-N-Out. It has basically everything you could ever want from a burger place, including milkshakes and fries and tater tots and all the sauces. So we each got some vegan cheeseburgers, tater tots, and french fries.
We got the goods. How's your milkshake? So good.
We took this over to Pan Pacific Park, which is somewhat nearby, and we had a little picnic for dinner, which was such a nice treat just to be outside and share some fries. We had all of the sauces. We got the onion aioli, which is the green one you see. Right next to that, you will see the house sauce, which is kind of like Thousand Island, with some ranch and sriracha mayo. The onion aioli tastes like Funyuns, and it's unlike any sauce I've ever had before. It was so good. So that was incredible. It was so good. As you can probably see from those clips, we were so tired. We had been outside and sweating and wind blown, and I definitely feel like I did not fit in when we were actually at Monty's, because everyone there was like so trendy and cool, and we were in our hiking stuff and covered in dust and dirt, and my hair was so messy, but who cares? We were there to pick up burgers and go on a picnic, and we did, and it was really nice. The food was amazing. So if you're in LA or if you visit LA, I definitely recommend checking out Monty's. It was so good. My sister said it was better than In-N-Out, and that is very high praise, because people think In-N-Out is the end-all be-all of fast food out here, and so if someone thinks that it's better than In-N-Out, that's pretty awesome, especially since it's all vegan. When I got home on this night, I realized that I hadn't really been on my phone very much this day, and I decided to keep that theme going. So instead of immediately returning all of my text messages and checking my emails and all of that, I left my phone in my bag. I lit some candles, I made some tea, I put on one of my favorite shows on Netflix, and I just kind of did some household things. I took a nice hot shower, I folded my laundry, I got into bed and got really cozy, and then I checked my phone, and it was honestly the perfect way to end the day. I felt so relaxed and so rested after a day like this. Now, one thing that has been on my mind a lot is trying to support small businesses, female-owned businesses, BIPOC-owned businesses, and then obviously still vegan and organic when possible. And that can be a lot of boxes to check. Like if I'm just going into the grocery store, having all of that circulating in my mind can be kind of a lot. But when I go on Thrive, they actually have a BIPOC and female-owned filter now. So if you are like me and you want to support BIPOC owned businesses, you can go on to Thrive, you can click the BIPOC filter, and that's how I discovered this Numi Tea is a BIPOC owned company. I used Numi Tea before, but now that I know that they're a BIPOC owned company, I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, stock up on that. That is great. That definitely aligns with with my values and what I want to support. And I love that Thrive makes that easy, because if you go into a grocery store, you can't just click vegan, you can't just click gluten-free and BIPOC owned, female owned, and then all of the other options that don't fit into that category magically disappear. That won't happen at the regular grocery store, but it does happen on Thrive. So a lot of times I'll just click the vegan filter and everything else that's not vegan just disappears. So I thought I would point it out that Numi is one of those brands that is a BIPOC owned company. It is a caffeine-free tea. It is fall inspired because it has cinnamon and cloves and cardamom, and it is so good. And it was really a perfect way to end a really nice, very fall inspired day. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and that it gave you some inspiration for some meal ideas, for some recipes to try for the fall, and also for some things that you might use to shake up your day, whether it's listening to this podcast or getting the book that she referenced in the podcast, or trying out Thrive Market for the first time and supporting the values that you believe in with the filters. I honestly can't recommend it enough. It's so convenient and easy. Give it a thumbs up if it gave you some good ideas, and I will see you guys in a video very soon. Bye.